So I put the 50 ohm cables in, I put it all together, and it didn't work. It sort of worked. It was kind of weird. It sort of worked. It measured transmission fine, but it wouldn't measure return loss. And I thought, oh my goodness, what did it do? The return loss measurement was just terrible. I have found schematics for the unit that I have. So like I said, it doesn't use SMA couplers. It uses a printed circuit board when they design their own circuits and everything, and it's much farther down the road to a vector network analyzer. So this is the way they do it. They have one channel that is the so this middle channel is where, this middle channel is where the RF comes in, and it goes through a coupler, so they can measure that. And this is the measurement section. There's a mixer in here too, so that comes in, and then it comes into the mixer, it gets down converted, and it goes through. This is the port, so the power comes in here, it goes up here, and then it comes out. So generator out to the connector. So this goes out to the connector. Interestingly, it's AC coupled as well. So that's good to know. There's a 0.1 microfarad capacitor in here. But here's the other coupler. So one coupler, two couplers. So measure how much power, measure the reflected power, and then this is the reflected power return. And then this is the number 2 port, and that's just a measurement port. And each one is identical. Each one has the same mixers, and it all gets down converted. It's all in phase and everything. So yeah, very nice design. And the little couplers that they use are these. So this is the couplers that are in there, mini circuits. And that's the part number. So it's got 2 of those in there. So now I know what's in there. Why doesn't it work? Well, one thing that I was kind of worried about, and I knew it might be a problem, but it seemed to work when I first tried it out, but it isn't. And that is that the 50 ohm connector that I put on there was attaching to that 75 ohm cable that was still part of it. And I didn't replace that 75 ohm cable, figuring, you don't, baby steps, right? To only change incrementally. And so I found out that the center conductor, just like the center conductor on an N connector is much smaller than the 50 ohm, well, on SMA it's the same way. The center conductor is much smaller than a 50 ohm SMA connector. So it wasn't making electrical contact. So I went ahead and built my own cable to about the same length. It all gets calibrated out, but about the same length that was already in there. I put in the 50 ohm cable, and now everything works perfectly fine. So that's good. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? Well, here's a zoom of one section. This is the number 1 port. Here's that capacitor. Here's the mixer. The coupler, and then the coupled signal comes into what looks like a limiter. I believe this is probably a limiter diode. And then it comes into the RF mixer, and then the RF mixer has an IF, so the IF is coming off board, so the IF gets fed to each one of the mixers, and then the LO comes out and gets measured by ADDs and stuff like that. And here's the other one. So these are basically both identical for practical purposes. So yeah, let's go make some measurements. All right, so let's go ahead and calibrate. All right, let's take a look at number of points. Let's go ahead and do a 401 point calibration. That will be good. And let's set the power level to -10. We're going to be measuring some things that we can handle the higher power. So we're now set to -10 dBm and 401 points across. And so we want to measure, let's say, transmission. Let's go ahead and measure a, let's say we'll measure a 20 dB, a 20 dB pad. That'll be an easy measurement to make, just to test things out. Let's see here, I need an adapter to make it both female on both sides. Okay, so we're going to be making a through measurement, so we really don't need any type of fancy calibration. We'll just do a normalization for this type of thing. Now, when you want to measure something, it's kind of nice. You hit the begin button. This says, what do you want to measure? You want to measure an amplifier? You want to measure a filter? You want to measure a broadband passive? Well, this is a broadband passive. Let's measure one of those. You want to do transmission or reflection? We want to do transmission. And so it automatically sets things up. All right. So let's put this on here. Now, this is the first instrument I've owned that warrants actually using a wrench. I know a lot of people have said, hey, you know, you should use a wrench, blah, 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 blah. So everything else I've ever played with, I could get them perfectly tight enough for all the measurements that I was making for the dynamic range of the instruments and stuff. But this instrument has way more dynamic range than any of my other instruments, and it really does make a difference. On the other instruments, I could get it finger tight and it was just fine. And even on this one, if I get it real finger tight, it's still as good as a wrench, but no, this thing deserves a wrench. Okay, so I'm using a wrench. I don't have a torque wrench, but I've got calibrated fingers. All right, so we'll send this through. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, I should have done this before. We're going to remove the device under test first, and we will do a through calibration. So we will remove this. We will put in a through. Put in a through. And there we go. So we're going to hit cal, and this we're going to do normalize. Okay, so now we're done. We're calibrated. That was fast. Calibration on this thing is just instantaneous. It's very, very nice. All right, so now I'm going to put in a 20 dB attenuator. I've measured this on many things, and it's a very, very nice 20 dB attenuator. So let's see how it does. And look at that. Okay, so I'm finger tightening it, and it's almost as good. I will tighten it a little bit with a wrench, but yeah, it was fine. So you can see that we're getting really good here. We can turn on averaging, and we'll get a perfectly flat line exactly at minus 20 dBm. So this thing is measuring really, really nicely. Okay, so let's put in something like a filter. All right. So let me remove this, and let me see if I can get this off. All right. And here's a low-pass filter. People may recognize it from other things I've measured. And we will make sure everything is on good. And look at that, beautiful filter looking. All right, so we could hit scale. We could do auto scale. It automatically scales it, which is nice. We can get rid of this lumpiness here. Let's see here. Let's check out the power level. So we're measuring power through at minus 40 dBm. So let's bump that up to minus 10 dBm, and boom, we're getting a much cleaner signal here instead of sweeping at minus 40 dBm. Even at minus 40 dBm, it was giving us good results. But now we're sweeping at minus 10 dBm. You can see that everything got very, very quiet because this is down at minus 70, minus 80, right? So these are very, very, very small signals this thing's trying to do. Let's see if our averaging is, yeah, averaging is still on. If I turn averaging off, it does get a bit noisier out there, but not too bad. Turn that back on. So beautiful filter, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 dB. So this instrument measures really, really nice. I'm really impressed with it. All right, so let's try to do something a little different. All right, let's see if we can do a return loss measurement. Okay, and so now what we want to do is we want to calibrate for reflection. All right, so we can set up two measurements. We're doing a transmission measurement on one. On two, we're going to set up a reflection measurement. So you can toggle back and forth between two measurements. So measurement one is going to be transmission. Measurement two is going to be reflection. On the reflection measurement, we'll go ahead and calibrate just because we can, and I'll show you that. So remember, this is a scalar network analyzer, and the way that this thing is advertised and sold is that even though it's a scalar network analyzer, it can give much better results if it has a true a vector calibration done on it. So if you hit cal, now it says, oh, now what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do a one-port calibration. It says connect open. This should be very familiar, right? So we will put our open on the. We will calibrate out here at the end of the wire. Put our open on, hit, and we're done. That's it. It's done. Okay. Then it says put a short on. Put our short on. Done. And we'll put an open load on. Okay, we'll do the load. Connect load, the reflection port. Oops. Done. Calibration complete. And we're zooming down here around -60. Averaging is now on. So yeah, we're getting about a -60 dB return loss. 0 on this thing. That's awfully good. So now we can measure something. What should we measure? We can measure, let's measure a different filter. Let's measure, let's measure this one. This one is 114.3 megahertz SAW filter. And you see, we're getting a little dip there. Okay. So let me tighten that one. Let me put this one on. All right. So we can do a transmission measurement or we can do a reflection measurement. Okay, but it's way over there. So we can set our marker. We can find a marker. It's going to be right around there somewhere. Well, we actually know what it is. It's 114.3. So we can just put that in there. We can say frequency center 114.3 megahertz, and we can do a span of say 10 megahertz, and that looks like a filter. If I go to the transmission, that's the transmission, and this is the reflection, and there you go. And it might be hard to see on camera, but in very, very faint is the other one, so you can see them both. All right. So that's the way you do reflection measurements. So we could measure something else here. I know. Let's measure this one. All right. So I can hit preset. That gets me back to kind of ground zero. We're going to measure this duplexer. See how this duplexer does here. We will put the input here, and we will measure one of the outputs over here. There it is. We will tighten that down. I can do scale, auto scale. There we go. We know from this one the band passes and stuff are actually written as a specification. So if we use our cursor, this is around 430. So the specification is 336 megahertz. So let's do frequency center 836 megahertz, and so that's looking pretty good. Let's do a span of say 500 megahertz. There we go. So that's one of the filters. We can turn averaging on, and that lowers our noise floor. All right. So that's one of the filters, and you can see that it's measuring exactly where the let's see, home marker. Here's where the center was set, the 336. So we can turn markers off since we are where we need to be, or I'll just put it over on the side. All right. So let's save this one. So we'll do a display. We'll do data to memory, and then we will then remember that trace. All right. So I have averaging on. So there's the trace that we that we had, and now we're going to put on the other side, and we'll tighten that down. And there we go. There's the other filter, right? The other filter should be at 881 megahertz. We can do marker 881 megahertz, and right there is right at the peak. So this filter is measuring spec just fine. You know, this is the, which is which? Transmit, receive. Receive is this one. So this is the transmit signal, this is the receive signal. And you can see here that we're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 dB down. And we can even get lower than that if we turn on more averaging and other dynamic range stuff that this instrument has. Let's see, we can do frequency, display resolution. No, not display resolution. Here's sweep. All right, I found it. It's over here on average. So if we click on average, it says system bandwidth. So here's where we can set the filtering. So it's set to 3700 hertz. So if we set it to 250, it's taking a longer time to sweep, and that will lower our noise down a little bit. And then if we turn up our averaging, we might be able to even get a little bit lower, maybe a little bit. So we're at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, yeah, still down around 60. But you can play with things like that. Of course, this speeds it up. So one of the questions people are going to have is that, well, is it really 50 ohms now? Is this, how close to this thing to 50 ohms is it really measuring? Well, it gets calibrated out, so it doesn't really matter. It will affect the dynamic range and stuff, but I did have a curiosity of, is it way off or not? So I'm going to use a vector network analyzer. I'm going to use my little nano VNA, and I'm going to look into these two ports and see if they're kind of centered around 50 ohms or not. So that will be really, really interesting, so I'll do that now. All right, the first measurement I'm making here is of the channel 2 port. This is the input port. And it's measuring 50 ohms really well. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, at least 30 dB return loss. So it's a very nice 50 ohms on the input. So that's good news. On channel 1, it's not too bad. If you've measured this on other instruments, it's not a straightforward measurement to make and know what you're seeing, because part of it is a 50 ohms into the generator, and part of it's 50 ohms that you're gonna measure back. So anyway, the one thing that I was encouraged here is that even though it has a bit of mismatch, it's centered at 50 ohms. So all those little circles are spinning around around the 50 ohm mark. So that's really, really good news. Now the return loss isn't all that great, but I'm not sure if it really matters for this particular. I don't know. I couldn't say. All I know is I'm encouraged that it's circling 50 ohms instead of circling 75 ohms. So I think it's going to be just fine.